Howdy gang, my name is KillerGinger1 and welcome to my very first Total War Warhammer 3 Legions of Nagash Let's Play. Now, this campaign is going to be in Immortal Empires
Supreme.
with Legions of Nagash, obviously. I'm going to be doing this one turn at a time with battle replays, preferably. I'm taking this inspiration from two of my favorite Total War Warhammer content creators, Ruinous Insight and Monsters Abound. Be sure to look them up on YouTube. They are very good. I enjoy their content and it has inspired me to make my own. I don't see many campaigns with this, like full-on campaigns of this. There are people who've made content for Legions of Nagash, but I figured it'd be kind of cool to sink my teeth into an actual campaign and to see how it is going. Let me know your thoughts, opinions, recommendations. If you liked it, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to help me out. Let me know if you actually want to view this content. With that all out of the way, let's get stuck in. We are starting in Nagash. Nagashizzar. This is going to be a tongue twister of a campaign, I can already tell that. So, Nagash is back. And he is the greatest necromancer of his time. His whole thing is he wants to end the world of all life and to bring them all under his authority. Now, the only mods we have enabled for this campaign is the Legions of Nagash plus the two submods, mod configuration tool and Mixu's unlocker, and there's an AI mod. I will put it in the description. I'm curious to see how well it turns out. There's going to be no endgame scenario because we are the endgame scenario. There's going to be no AI strength assessment because we're going to be relying on the AI mod. We're going to keep very hard, but we're going to keep the modified AI stats to neutral. That makes it better for me. I'm terrible at this game. We're going to see how well we do. And let's get stuck in. Alrighty. So, the very first thing you'll notice is we have one heck of a castle here in Cripple Peak / Nagashizzar. This is where Nagash tried to make his end of the world ritual before, but he was thwarted by the horrible, filthy rats and rat men. This time, Staden is the stand-in, and we're going to see how well he does against our horde of undead. So, we are a weakened form of Nagash. We are his old edition, old hammer, if you want to call it that, model. He's a very silly dude. He's got himself one hell of a hairdo. He is very much a casting lord. All of his spells are extremely expensive to cast, but insanely overpowered. He's got books of Nagash, my favorite of which is the 8th book, which grants all of these insane campaign buffs. Look how crazy that is. We definitely want to get him that as soon as possible. Our goal this campaign is to consolidate. We want these warpstone deposits as soon as possible because that'll give us warpstone, which we need for our technologies, I believe. Either in this one or the Mortarks, mayhaps. So we got two technology trees. We got the rituals, which are siphonings. It takes the Warhammer 2 Vortex campaign where we have various settlements that we have to control in order to start the rituals. When we start the ritual, or the siphoning of is what it's called, we have to defend it against AI spawned armies. So there's Morgheim, there's Kemri, Lamia, Castle Drakenhof, all sorts. And then I've never gotten this far, so we're going to see what that does. Hopefully it does something cool. As you can very well tell, each time we do one of these, the diplomacy of all factions is going through the floor, which means we are a total war faction, to To quote another famous YouTube content creator, we are going to be at war with pretty much everybody, because nobody besides any of the vampire counts we subdue are going to like us. That being said, we have these technologies, which kind of like the Tomb King's dynasties. They reduce our research rate quite insanely, but they summon legendary lords across the map of the various undead factions to our beck and call, including their territories. We got some of the modded factions like the Dread King from Dark Omen and Shadow of the Hornrat. Shout out to that great Warhammer game. We got a bunch of other no-names that I don't know of. We got Vlad von Karstein, Krell, Neferata, Manfred, etc., etc. So we're going to be wanting to hit these up and unlock new armies, new legendary lords, new subjects for Nagash. With that all out of the way, we are going to first select Tier 2 settlement, and then we're going to repair it. That way we don't have to repair and then waste 2 turns to upgrade. We are going to spend our money and resources on the infrastructure buildings to get the growth and to get the money. We want this settlement as Tier 5 as soon as possible because of all the lovely... It's not going to show me the buildings, okay. Well, to get all these lovely bonuses like the Great Halls of Nagashizzar. Look how wonderful those bonuses are. Very nice. And the recruitment buildings, which have their own special special modded in units, including the Tomb Kings. The Tomb King units, as well as some of the various vampire accounts units. It's a cavalcade of wonderful cacophonies of destruction and coffins. I tried an alliteration there and failed miserably. Alright, so with that out of the way, our very first step is we have been awoken by foolish, power-hungry mortal. You rose in your ancestral seat of power in Nagashizzar. The ancient hall of your stronghold has been despoiled by filthy rats and gravediggers. You make quick work of the Skaven that polluted your halls. It's time to crush the remaining vermin as they flee. So, Stadin wanted to loot our territory, and we are now going to return favor in kind with his death. We're going to raise dead. We're going to get all of these units as we will. We are going to attack Stadin. The only creature that's going to be very dangerous is the warp grinders, because they have that very nasty warp quake. Does a lot of damage, especially on an army like ours with our horde mechanics. And we are going to see you and the outcome of this battle on the battlefield. Stay tuned. Alrighty, very first battle of the campaign. You can see Nagash is leading his forces. He is the super duper, most super evil necromancer around. I love this model. Unfortunately, we're going to be upgrading him past this to become even more terrifyingly evil. So this is going to be a pretty easy romp, hopefully. Unfortunately, it's going to be a long one because Undead and Skaven, numbers versus numbers, both are equally terrible troops. It's going to take a while for us to carve through each other. And I have very minimal responses to their Master Assassin. Their most dangerous unit on the field, hands down, will be these Warp Grinders because of that Quake effect. It's going to be absolutely dreadful to us. As you can very well see, they already have decided to try and ambush our Bone Throwers. Fortunately for us, we have our Nagashizzar Guard to tear them a new tail. And our White King, Steinberg von Deal. What's the deal with Steinberg? He is very angry and he does not like rats. In terms of Warpstone, I'm surprised we don't have an abundance of it after this battle, considering every single one of the hilts and pommels on these swords that these ratmen have is Warpstone. Gather up enough of these swords and you'll have enough Warpstone to do a first ritual. Now we are ready for our the main engagement. Our bone golems are going to be eating a lot of the damage. Look how vastly crazy they are. They don't do much in damage, but they have a lot of health and a lot of defense, which means they're going to be in the battle for a long time, throwing Ratmen around. There you go, the Seismic Blast already doing plenty of damage to our troops. They're going to be doing that continuously. I tried to throw my bats in against the assassin to do what little damage they can. As you can see, it's not much, but at least it'll get them to hold for a minute. They decide to spawn their second unit to ambush our archers, but fortunately we had enough bony boys, including my absolute favorite is the Reaper. Look at them just flinging rats around. Look at that. Just yeeting rats across the battlefield. Absolutely perfect. These are my favorite units so far in the roster. Just the absurdity of it. And it doesn't just extend to the rats as well. It'll extend to our own Skelly boys as they just get flung across the battlefield. Friend or foe, these Reapers do not care. As you can see, it's pretty much just a absolute standstill. We are doing damage to them, but they are also doing damage to us. Fortunately, our men are a little bit... Believe it or not, they're actually better than us, surprisingly. But we have shields, so I guess that's the bonus. Their troops don't have that much shielding. There's another one of those blasts. Those warp grinders are really getting their numbers in. Haven't killed a whole lot, but have done a lot of health damage to our boys. About 1,700 damage so far, and that's just going to continue to go up the longer they're stuck in the battle. Fortunately for us, with the power of Nagash and our archers focusing down those warp grinders, and the rest of the Ratmen being terrified of us and our monsters, we'll hopefully have enough to mitigate the damage. Speaking of damage, we are launching our skull bone throwers at the assassin and his retinue that came to his aid. They're not the best siege weapons, but they do a bit of damage. And plus, just throwing skulls at people is kind of radical, as the kids say. And I mean, look at that ballista. That thing is absolutely cool. I don't know how he's able to sight in on targets with a bandage across one of his eye holes, but he doesn't even have eyes, so that's not the least of his concern. As the battle progresses, we are getting closer to the end now. We're almost entirely victorious. Casualties have been relatively even across the fight, 300-300. But just sheer weight of numbers and the fact that ours are undead has left the Ratmen utterly terrified. Unfortunately for us, the Ratmen love to rout and regroup. But fortunately, we have enough of a range contingent that we are able to see them off. Our biggest threat is, of course, no longer the warp grinders, thankfully, but the Master Assassin, who is still doing work. He is by far their most lethal unit. Did about 5,000 damage there, just flinging shurikens and other things at us. Again, enough warpstone that we could probably complete one of the first rituals if we decided to harvest a unit, but that's alright. We got some pretty cool color scheme here. I really like the shield design on these skeletons. And with that, with our Reapers chasing down the rest of the enemies, that Assassin Lord's not going to want to stay too long. He's going to be getting a few doses of his own medicine with the White King, and has decided enough is enough and is going to flee for his life. And that concludes the very first battle. A long one, a bloody one, but not a hard one. Hopefully our troop content will get a lot more sturdy as the campaign continues on. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, that was one heck of a battle. We sacrificed all of our fell bats, but I believe it was worth it because the fell bats are truly terrible, as you saw in the battle. We're going to get Winds of Magic Power Reserve because that's going to give our Necromancer Nagash is going to get more power to play with. We're going to put him in an camp stance so he can get replenishment. With that, we now have to secure the mines around Crimson Peak in order to get more warpstone for our rituals. We have nothing else to recruit besides from our actual recruitment. We have a lot of recruiting spots, so this will work out just great. We're going to get a bunch of zombies, cheap little creatures. We're going to fill out the rest with skeleton warriors, because they didn't do too bad in that battle. Nagash himself has a horde mechanic. We're going to focus on casualty replenishment and horde growth, because we want to get that up as soon as possible, and money, because our income is abysmal. And once we get a full army, we're going to need plenty of armies to defend our barriers, since we're going to be at war with pretty much everybody around us, including the dwarves, the dragon prince over here, just about anybody, not just the Skaven. As you can tell, everybody absolutely hates us. Absolutely everybody. So we are not going to be making any peace deals anytime soon, unless they are vampires or undead that we can subjugate, because that's the lore of it. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Be sure to give me your feedback, what your likes and dislikes are. I'll try to improve, being this is my first video. Thank you all for watching, and we will get on with the next episode as soon as possible. Take care now.